Alright guys, I don't want to make this video too long, but I have got a tip for you, and I want you to try it out. So here's what I did. Yesterday I went to a car show at my old middle school, and I was luckily the only bug there, you know. Well, not luckily, but I was the only bug there, so people were checking out my bug, you know. A lot of people, you know, like, hey man, nice bug, you know, what have you done to it? Just give them the basic, you know, info. And this one man, I'm not sure, like maybe like in his 50s, he came over, and I was talking to him about, you know, yeah, I'm gonna adjust my valves when I get home. I'm gonna adjust my points because, you know, it needs that tune-up. He's like, oh, okay, so let me guess, you're gonna do the old school way by taking off the nut, getting your 6,000 feeler gauge, and, you know, making it to where it has very little drag on the feeler gauge, right? And I was like, yeah, that's how everybody does it. And he's like, let me stop you right there, son. Let me tell you something. I know a man, I'm not sure if he's alive yet, but last time I saw him, he told me that he had 70 years of experience on Volkswagens. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, he was actually a certified Volkswagen mechanic. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So he fixed, you know, gears, bugs, split windows, ovals, you know, you name it, you know. He started off way back. And he told me a cool tip that I would have never even thought about doing, because I don't want to burn my fingers. What he told me is, instead of using a feeler gauge, use the push rod as your feeler gauge. You're like, what? Push rod as your feeler gauge? Well, let me tell you. What you're gonna do is you're gonna do the old, you know, start off by putting it, you know, number one, where the rotor's pointing to number one, top dead center on number one, and so on. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna loosen up the nut, the locking nut, and if it's tight, and you can move the rocker arm back and forth, you can hear the tick, 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 tick. All right, what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn that screw in till it bottoms out, but don't turn it in too far, just until it lightly bottoms out. All right. Now what you're gonna do is, once it lightly bottoms out, put your screwdriver down and go underneath the engine, or go inside the push rod. Go inside the head and twist the push rod to where it has very little drag. And if it has no drag, tighten it more. And as soon as you feel it barely start to drag, tighten it up, and you're good to go. Pretty crazy, right? I didn't understand it either. I was like, that's insane. You're gonna burn your damn fingers off. But it actually makes a lot of sense, because once the motor's already hot, all the parts have already expanded. So that way you can now adjust to your preferences, you know, to where, like, you want it quiet. This is a good opportunity to make it quiet, since all the parts are expanded. But don't, you know, adjust it to where it's like, to where the push rod, you can't even turn the push rod, then the valve won't even close. Adjust it to where you have very little drag. But if you have no drag at all, then that's incorrect. What's crazy is, the guy that I talked to yesterday, he told me, yeah, one day I took my bug to him to go get it checked out, and he told me this: your valves are off. I was like, you're kidding me? I just adjusted them last night, you know, 6,000s. Well, in my book, that's wrong, sir. And he was like, that's crazy, that can't be wrong. That says in the Volkswagen Haynes manual, 6,000s. And he's like, let me show you what I'm gonna do. So he jacked the car up, pulled the valve covers off. He's like, watch this. He pulled the nuts off, tightened the screws, adjusting screws to where they lightly bottom out. Then he grabs the push rod and twists it to where he feels little drag. He's like, you see that? See how it has very little drag in it? That's what you want. Now tighten it back up. So he did that to all eight rocker arms. He fired it up. Man, that thing was quiet. And he was even asking him, like, that's crazy. Doesn't it run hotter because you're keeping the valve open? No, it does not. I know what I've been doing. I've had 70 years of experience. I've had tons of cars come in. On the cars that I have done this to, they are running today still in great condition. They're running cool. Actually, they're running more efficient. The valves aren't wearing out as much anymore. The tappets, the adjusting screws aren't wearing out because they're not banging themselves back and forth on the valves. So think about that. Easy Jeezy, let me know. So there's your tip for today. I'm gonna try that right now. I'm just letting it cool down just a little bit because, you know, I just got back from getting the mail. I'm letting it cool down with the fan. But once that cools down about, I don't know, in about an hour or so, I'll come over here and do that. And it should run a hell of a lot quieter. It should be a little bit more peppy too, and it should have a little bit of a cam to it because, you know, you're opening the valve a little bit more. But I'm not sure. Let's find out. Let's see what happens. I'll let you guys know after I'm done. Alright, so there's your tip for today. Check it out, research it. Later, guys.